Joining us now, Chris Stirewalt, host of The Hill Sunday, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute as well, joins us from the great state of Nevada. Hello, Chris. Nice to have you in. We were sitting next to each other yesterday, and I noticed when we were talking about the next commander-in-chief is going to have to deal with ISIS-K, I noticed out of the corner of my eye you nodded along, Chris. And I picked up on you noticing, this is a huge part of the equation that the next president of the United States is going to have to deal with. And I wonder what you think the world is before whoever is the next commander-in-chief.
Well, I think Kamala Harris, what we heard from her today, the way that she talked, the hard language, the celebration very nearly of the death of this terrorist and talking about the American role in it speaks to the closing argument she wants to make with voters, right? We don't talk very often about the fact that she would be the first woman to ever be the president of the United States. Are there voters out there who wonder whether or not she's tough enough? Is she strong enough? Is she experienced enough? Donald Trump beats her consistently on voter estimations about who's a strong leader, who does those kinds of things. Kamala Harris, in order to close the deal and win the presidency, has to convince voters that, and we heard it when she gave her acceptance speech at the Democratic National Convention, talked about the most lethal fighting force, most lethal military in the world. So this is a big part of the commander-in-chief job. And what you saw from her today was auditioning for that role.
Chris, DDHQ has this as a 50-50 coin flip at this point in time. I'm looking at swing state polling and all of its tide. You're out there in Nevada, one of the key swing states. Big Senate race there tonight. What's the state of the race as Chris Stirewalt sees it this evening?
Well, Nevada should be a lean for Harris. Donald Trump certainly could win in Nevada, but remember, we talk a lot about how the states have a nature, but they have a nature in relation to one another. Nevada is the most Democratic of the 7 swing states. North Carolina is the most Republican of the 7 swing states. Donald Trump could win here. If he wins here, that means he's on his way to running the table in all 7 swing states and maybe even winning the national popular vote, the first Republican to do so since 2004. But right now, you'd say that Kamala Harris has the advantage here in Nevada. So Sam Brown, as he gets on the stage tonight with the incumbent Jackie Rosen, has got to be making an appeal that a bunch of independents and even some Democrats can come over and vote for him. He needs a lot of ticket splitters, right? He needs everybody who's going to vote for Donald Trump, and then he needs some people who are going to vote for Kamala Harris. This is an opportunity for the Republicans to get to 53 seats, maybe 54. This is one of those seats that if the breeze is blowing in the Republicans' direction, it falls in line for them. But to do it, he'll need to convince voters in the persuadable middle. He's got a good biography. He's got a good story to tell. We'll see if he can execute tonight.
Chris Stirewalt out there in Nevada. I saw you with the shades earlier, my man. The sun must be dropping a little bit.
I was told they were forbidden on your show because it's a more serious show on the Hill, and I respect that. I respect the seriousness.
Not at all, not at all. Chris Stirewalt live for us in Nevada this evening. Have fun, my man. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.